Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Alyssa. I'm a 25-year-old first-time mom to a baby boy named Reese. He is almost a year old, and it is a very rainy, cold, and snowy day here in Connecticut, so I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to film a cozy and chatty Q&A with you. We have over 1,000 people here on the channel, so I kind of just thought I would sit down and just answer some questions you guys have for me as our mom community is continuing to grow. So if you're not following me on Instagram, that is where I went ahead and I asked you guys to go ahead and submit your questions. I now have them here on my phone. They're in no specific order. I'm just gonna go ahead and read them down and just be honest with you guys. So let's jump right into it. First question, how did you and Dacoda meet? Dacoda and I met in high school, so I was a sophomore, he was a senior. We went to different high schools though, about an hour away from each other. Each of our best friends, including Dacoda, did indoor track and field, and I guess my best friend and his best friend met at a meet. They exchanged phone numbers and began talking, and when they wanted to go on a date, myself and Dacoda ended up getting wingmanned together to go on that double date, and we just over the years continued to talk, and now we're engaged and we have a baby. So we met in high school. Are you in your forever home? I really liked watching your playroom organization video and I like your style. Thank you. So we are not currently in our forever home. We actually rent right now. We rent like a house. It's 3 bedroom, 2 baths, so it is pretty large. However, we are looking to potentially buy when the market kind of calms down. In Connecticut, it's crazy busy right now, much like anywhere else across the country. So eventually, when things settle down, we'll buy. We did look to buy back in 2020, right at the beginning of COVID, and then we decided maybe not. I don't know if that was a good decision to not, or if we should have, but hindsight's 2020, so eventually we are looking to purchase. I think we want to get a ranch. I've grew up in a 2-story, I've lived in 2 stories, and I think I want to do a ranch when we do buy. So if we do decide to buy, I will take you guys along on that journey because I love house hunting. Do you have a favorite TV show? I have a lot of favorites, but I think like my all-time favorite would be Survivor. I could watch it over and over again, never get bored. Fun fact, when COVID first began, I ended up binging Survivor from the very first season and very first episode. It was like true dedication because if anybody knows, like Survivor has so many seasons, but I watched it from the very beginning and I just love Survivor. It's my go-to comfort show. Do you hope that when you have baby number 2, it's a girl since you already have Reese? No. I know that might be kind of controversial to some people, but I love being a boy mom. I've always wanted to be a boy mom. When we do have children, I want it to be a boy. I do have a preference. Of course, if it's a girl, I'll love her regardless, but if someone said you can pick, I would choose a boy. So I'm rooting for a boy for our next child. What's the hardest part about being a first-time mom? That's a good question. I think the hardest part about being a first-time mom is just understanding that your needs to a certain degree have to come second. And what I mean by that is like, don't lose yourself in motherhood. Like that's something I'm trying to work on and like establishing my own self-identity while being a mom. But it's more so just realizing that Reese has a schedule, and so my days are kind of built around his needs, his schedule, what he needs, and it's just learning to not be so selfish in the sense that before I had Reese, like I could quite literally do whatever I want. If I didn't have to be somewhere for work, like I could just sit on the couch and do whatever I want. And now it's like when I do have free time, I'm okay, when does he need to be fed next? When does he need a diaper change? When does he need a nap? And so it's just about learning and shifting your mindset that, you know, I chose to have him, I love him, his needs come first, and it's about finding that balance of being a mom, but also being yourself and just realizing at what point which one is supposed to kind of top the other one's needs at that point in time. So learning how to balance everything has been the most difficult, I think, for me. How has having Reese changed your relationship? Ooh, that's a good question too. So I think since having Reese, it's changed my relationship in the sense that I have a new love and appreciation for Dacoda as a father. I have love for him as my partner, but I think just watching him blossom into becoming a father who just loves Reece to pieces, like warms my heart and like makes me love him more. So I think that's the pro of having a child in our relationship. Having a child has caused, you know, you don't necessarily have as much time, one-on-one, undivided attention for each other. So it's definitely been a challenge to try and make each other feel like a priority and to find that time to put that actual attention towards each other as opposed to Reece or work or the house. So I think that it is made it more difficult to spend time together and to really focus on our relationship as opposed to our relationship as parents. What's your best piece of mom advice to new mothers? I think my number one thing that I have learned over the year is if you have a village, call on them, rely on them. Like, I would not be the mother that I am today or the person without my village. Like, I am so appreciative for my sister, my parents, my mother-in-law, like everybody that just rallies around me. I am so appreciative for. And it really kind of makes me realize and feel for those that don't have a village. So my number one piece of advice is don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for someone to just kind of listen to talk to babysit for you, whatever it may be. And if you don't have a village, work to create your own. It really does help kind of with that fog of shifting into motherhood. Go to free library story times, say hi to that person at the park, step out of your comfort zone, and it really does start to pay off. So definitely call upon your village and you will find that your mindset really will improve. Do you want more kids? If so, how many? So I do want more kids. Dacoda and I kind of are a little undecided as to how many more we want. We've always said we want at least 2. I always joke around and I say only children are weird. There's always just something slightly off with only children. But, you know, I had a sister growing up and I loved having a sibling. Dacoda is one of 4, so he loved having siblings. So we both want, for a fact, we want 1 more. I would probably be pretty good at 2. Maybe in the future I would consider a 3rd when the other 2 are pretty self-sufficient. Dacoda wants like a football team. He wants like 8 children, like a lot of kids. Like he's always just talked about having like a tribe of children in the house and wrestling and making noise, and he's just very much into that idea. I like order and structure, so like the idea of 8 children stresses me out. So I think we're just kind of, you know, taking time and trying to decide maybe in the future what we want, but we definitely want at least 1 more, a sibling for Reece, and then I think we'll kind of go from there. Is Reece sleep trained? If so, what is your bedtime routine? So Reece is sleep trained. We did that when he was very young. I think I posted a video about how we got him to sleep 12 hours a night when he was 2 or 3 months old. And so I will link that for you. But basically our routine is pretty consistent. Bedtime usually starts around 6:45, 6:50. And we pretty much will do bath, bottle, bed pretty much every single night. So it's a tag team effort between me and Dacoda. Usually Dacoda does bath. I'm setting up pajamas and getting the bottle and everything ready in the bedroom. He will bring Reece in, change him into his pajamas, and then I typically will feed him and then lay him down in his crib. We always lay him down drowsy but awake, and we've been doing that consistently, and it has worked out beautifully for us. So check out that video if you're looking for some tips for your babe. I know that you are engaged. Do you have any wedding plans in the works right now? Congrats, you guys make a cute couple. Thank you very much. We do not currently have any hard set dates. So for those of you who don't know, Dacoda and I, our first dating anniversary was March 27th, 2015. And then in March 27th, 2021, we got engaged. And ironically, a year later, on March 27th, 2022, Reece was born. So it's now our anniversary and his birthday. So right now, we currently don't have any plans. I've always kind of said I want to get married in the fall. I want a very low-key ceremony. Like, I'd be okay with eloping with like a photographer. I don't know how that would fly with my family, but like, I just don't want the big reception and ceremony. I'm just not girly. I think weddings are extremely overpriced and I'm just kind of low-key. So I think when we do that, that's probably what we're gonna do. But we don't have a set date in mind at this point. Maybe this fall, maybe next fall, maybe in the summer. This is a horrible way to answer this question, but no, we don't have a date yet at this point. What is your dream job? So my dream job would be to be like a property manager slash realtor. I love house hunting. I want to own my own properties. I want to be a landlord. I want to have that passive income coming in. And so ideally, like I'd love to have multiple different properties that I manage. That would be like the dream job, aside from being like a YouTube star. But like realistically, I would like to be a realtor and own properties. Did you want a boy? I'm currently pregnant with a baby girl and dealing with gender disappointment. Sad face. I did want a boy. I have said I like being a boy mom. I wanted a boy, so I was definitely happy when we found out Reese was a boy. But I do think gender disappointment is very real, and I think your feelings are valid. I think a lot of times there's like this stigma that goes around that if you have gender disappointment, like you're unappreciative for the baby that you have, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's natural and normal for humans to feel like they wanted something and maybe let down when they didn't receive it. I think it's normal to kind of envision the future, and whether you saw that with a son or a daughter and then it gets flipped, I think it's normal to feel kind of uneasy about that. It doesn't mean that you don't love that baby, but I think it is a normal feeling, and I think it should be kind of talked about more often. So I am sorry that you're dealing with gender disappointment, but I will say that I think that you're going to be an amazing mom either way, and I think that, you know, it'll get easier as you have kind of come to realize, like, okay, I'm gonna be a girl mom, let's embrace it, and I think that, you know, it'll be all right in the end. Did you go to college? So I did go to college. I went to college right after I graduated high school. I went to a 4-year university here in Connecticut, and I have my bachelor's of science in business administration. What made you want to start your YouTube channel? So I actually had not been someone that like watched YouTube since they were like 8 years old. I feel like I didn't really start watching YouTube until like 2018-ish, and I loved watching mom content. I loved watching nursery tours and what's in my diaper bag and things like that, and I was like, it'd be so cool to have a mom channel when I become a mom. So I just wanted that. I wanted to build a community. I always found them so encouraging, and I found them so inclusive, and so that's kind of what drove me. I also kind of wanted it to be like a time capsule. I think that, you know, we have so many photos and videos of Reese on my phone, but it's kind of cool that I can click on one of my videos and I can, you know, have it already edited and cut, like what that day was, and I think it's just a really cool way to kind of look back on it. Obviously, I guess you could also say that, you know, to some degree, it would be cool if it would be a like monetary benefit as well. Like people do get paid off of YouTube and they make it their careers, and that would be super cool if I could provide financially for my family as well. So there's all sorts of different pros to why I chose my YouTube channel, but mainly just for the fact that it was an interest of mine. I wanted to kind of just find a way to communicate because I'm definitely kind of introverted, so maybe talking to a camera is a little easier than talking to people face to face, but to have a way to look back on Reese's childhood would be cool as well. How old are you? I'm 25. I am a Leo. My birthday is August 3rd, 1997. Was Reese a planned pregnancy? How did you and Dacoda react? So Reese was a planned pregnancy, and I think our reaction was kind of disbelief, but not in the sense of like surprised that we were pregnant, but I think we were just surprised that we got pregnant so quickly. I think a lot of times you just hear a lot of people talk about, you know, infertility struggles. We hear people talk about, oh, it took us several months of trying to get pregnant, and the first month that we were trying, we got pregnant. So that was definitely the response, and I think that we were both just excited and over the moon, and we just couldn't wait to be parents. Who are your favorite YouTubers? This is a good question. So like, I feel like my YouTubers kind of have shifted and evolved over the years. To be honest, my favorite mom YouTuber is probably Kilean Rodriguez, mainly just because I love her like aesthetic and it's just very cute, boho-y, love the vibes. And then I guess like I would say like my other second favorite YouTuber that's not in like the mom realm is Josie B ASMR. Like that's so cringy. Like people are like, what, you like ASMR? But I find her so relaxing. So if you deal with like stress or anxiety or depression or whatever, check out ASMR. Sure, maybe you think I'm a weirdo for it, but she's got like millions of subscribers and she's just good. So check her out. What are your 2023 goals? Ooh, so this is personal. So I think my number one goal is I want to get in better shape. I feel like a lot of my sadness and feeling not like I'm worthy enough comes from self-doubt in myself and my own body image. So I just want to become a better, healthier version of myself, both mentally and physically. So I'm kind of working on that in two different regards, you know, dieting, eating better, trying to work out, and then mentally by just being more proactive about addressing things that make me happy and what makes me sad and trying to find that balance. I want to grow my YouTube channel. I want to, you know, potentially get my real estate license. If things worked out and, you know, the stars aligned, I'd be interested in buying a house, but that's kind of like a far off goal. But definitely 2023 is the year about putting my effort and attention into myself and into my passions and kind of just seeing where it takes me. What is the red spot on Reese's head? He's so cute. I love you guys. So Reese has a hemangioma on his head, and he also has one on his back. They're both about the size of like a nickel. So they appeared like, you know, 2-3 days after birth, and basically from my understanding is it's like an overgrowth of blood vessels, and they, you know, will eventually kind of decrease in their size. And so most dermatologists and pediatricians pay no mind to them. I guess they're really common in girls, preemies, and twins. Reese's, none of the above, so he just kind of lucked out with them. I guess they're not genetic. So the only thing is Reese recently had an ulcerated one, which is just basically it like opened, it was bleeding, and it wasn't like, oh my god, this is crazy. It was just normal blood. And eventually, after it continuing to ulcerate, we did decide to, you know, go with the dermatologist recommendation. So he has been started on hemangiol. It's basically just a medicine that's going to kind of shrink the growth of those, the beta blocker, and hopefully they'll go away and he won't be in any pain anymore. So they are hemangiomas and they cause no pain or no harm except the fact that he's ulcerated, and that's why he's now on medication. Have you always lived in Connecticut? Yes. So I was born and raised in Connecticut. I've never even traveled really like at all. Like I've never been to like Maine, even on like East Coast states. I've never been to like California. So that's definitely something I want to do in the future. I want to travel. And so that definitely is something that I'm trying to work out career-wise on how I can kind of accomplish those goals of providing for my family, being a mom, and traveling. What is your biggest insecurity? Ooh, we're getting candid with these questions. I honestly think my biggest insecurity is my height. I'm almost 6'2", I'm 6'1.5", so I just have always been taller than everybody, taller than a lot of the boys, just tall. And it's, you know, it's something I feel like everyone talks about, like, oh my god, you're so tall, like, that's so cool, da-da-da, and it's like, I feel like for a boy that would be cool, but I feel like for a girl, like, you just don't want to be tall, like, pants are too short, boys are too short, shoes are too small, like it's just a whole list of problems. And I realize that sounds kind of shallow because people have like way bigger issues, but I would be shorter if I could. Dacoda talks about how it doesn't bother him because Dakota's actually shorter than me, but I think that it's definitely just like an insecurity of mine that I wish that I was like a good like 5'6", like that would be my ideal height, I think, because I never wear heels because I'm already like towering over everybody. Have you and your sister always been super close? I have seen her in a few videos and you guys are sister goals. Oh, thank you. So me and my sister Becca, she's been in a couple videos. She's the best aunt and the best sister in the world. We are less than 2 years apart and she is the older sister. When we were growing up, I think we were very close just because of our ages. And then when we got towards middle and high school, she became too cool to hang out with her younger sister. So I feel like we kind of drifted apart. And even through college a little bit, but towards the end of college, I think we really started to kind of, you know, grow back together. And now we talk every single day, all day long. We see each other multiple times a week. She lives in the same town as me, so she sees Reese all the time. So our relationship has improved so much. I value that relationship. She's just an awesome person, an awesome aunt, and I think that she's just a really special person in my life and Reese's life and all of our lives. I'm thinking about starting my own YouTube channel, but scared people will judge me. Any advice? So do it. Go for it. That's definitely was and still is like a concern of mine. I feel like having a YouTube channel is cool when you have like hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, because like if you're like vlogging in public and people are like, why are you vlogging? You could be like, I have 2 million followers, and then they kind of like, all right, like that makes sense. But when you don't, like I have 1,000, so like people are like, you want to be essentially. And I think that I would just say, screw them. Don't worry about it. I think that you know, do what you want to do. Who cares what people say? Like, I used to worry about like what people from my hometown were gonna say when I started sharing my videos on my stories and my Instagrams. Like, I was like, are they talking about me in a group chat? And it's like, you know what? I'm 25 years old. I have a whole fiance and a child. Like, I don't have time to worry about what someone could be saying about me. And so I think that when you get over the fact that like you're your biggest critic, I think you'll be surprised to find how much more support you'll get than you were maybe expecting. I didn't tell anybody for the longest except for Dacoda, my sister, that I was going to do a YouTube channel. And when I did, like, nobody had any sort of criticism. They just started plugging my channel, subscribing, telling their coworkers to subscribe, and I was just met with so much support, and it was really, really cool. And I'm, like, nobody. Like, I don't have a huge following, but I definitely just say go for it. And if you are worried about anybody judging you, perhaps they are, but who cares? Like, at the end of the day, they're irrelevant if they're judging you. What's the best part about being a mom? Ooh, so I think the best part about being a mom is just seeing how happy Reece is. And what I mean by that is kind of just like seeing how the smallest things bring him joy and bring him happiness. Like, it kind of just humbles you and just makes you like take a second to like look back and be like, whoa, like there's so many bigger and better things going on in the world, and he's just happy with sitting eating a cracker with me on the couch, and it just makes you feel loved and valued and appreciated, and just having that unconditional love from him and to give it in return is just a super cool relationship to have, and I love him. I wouldn't change it for the world. Alright guys, that pretty much does it. I hope that this was, you know, kind of a good look into who I am, what I'm about, and I think you guys had some really good questions. If this is something that you guys like, let me know and we can do another Q&A in the future. But as always, thank you so much for being here. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.